Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Joe Tillari with Metro Heating and Cooling. This is Justin Jobe with Enertech USA. Today we're going to be going over setup and installation of the variable speed flow center residential.
As we take a closer look at this residential pressurized flow center, you can see here this is a one pump model. This is offered in a single 32140 variable speed pump, or you can get it as a two pump setup where it would have a 32140 on the right hand side and it would have a 3-speed selectable 2699 on the left hand side. However, the process for wiring and configuring the speed controller is the same on both models. So you can see here that we have the high voltage wiring coming in. This is 220 volts. This is coming from, this could be wired directly to the breaker panel, or you could hook this to the contactor on the Geo unit. However, the variable speed pump requires this voltage live all the time. So this one will not be hooked to your standard pump relay inside the Geo unit. If this were a two pump flow center, you would hook the standard 2699 pump to the standard relay that most guys are familiar with. One of the things that makes this a little bit interesting to install and get set up is the low voltage wiring. So there is some control wiring required from the geothermal unit to the actual flow center. And this particular example here, you can see it's all mounted on this black panel here. This is powder coated steel. This particular model comes from Geo Flo. And you can see here we have a Grundfos speed controller as well as a couple of relays below that. There is a metal box that goes over that to cover it. It's a really nice look when it's finished. However, you can see here that we do have some 4-wire. This is just standard 18 gauge solid core 4-wire, like stat wire. And this is running over to our Geo unit, and we'll take a look at the Geo side in a moment. But you can see down here we have 4 terminals. We have a standard R and C, so these are our standard 24 volt connections. And then we have a Y2 connection, and we have an ACC. And so because this is a variable speed flow center, and we can program the speed controller to optimize the water flow for the unit, we need to know whether or not the unit's running in second stage. So that's what the Y2 connection is for. So like I said, we'll take a look in a moment about how these hook to the actual unit. But now we can go over the actual programming and features on the speed controller itself. So you can see here that in any one of the screens, to make the light light up, you push any one of the 3 buttons. You've got an up arrow, an enter button in the center, and a down arrow. You can toggle between 2 screens. This is kind of your standard mode. And in one screen, it's going to show down here just gallons per minute, whether or not you have water flow. Up in the top left-hand corner, it's going to show if the heat pump is running and whether it's in first stage or second stage, and then how many watts the pump is pulling. Now, this only applies to the variable speed motor, pump motor, not if this were a 2 pump, it wouldn't apply to the 2699 pump. If I push either the up or down arrows, we toggle to the other screen, and here in the top left, we have entering water temperature, we have leaving water temperature, we have how many thousand BTUs we're pulling from the earth, and what our flow rate is in GPM. So in addition to this having thermistors built into entering and exiting, there is also a solid state flow meter down here just below. Now, if you purchase this panel mount flow center, all of the flow meter and these 2 relays come pre-wired where you just have to plug them in. So it's a pretty simple setup in that way. So in order to get into the programming on this guy, you press and hold the center button, the enter button, and it brings up this screen. I don't know how well you can see that, but as I toggle through, you can see that I've got 6 selections here. We have flow, sensors, media, the mode, and then lockout and signal. And so in this particular situation, when we press the enter button, you can change the mode. So you've got a few different options. You can have it regulate water flow. You can have it operate off of delta T, or the difference between entering and exiting water temperatures. Or you can just have it straight up run a specific gallons per minute. So running it off of flow is what we're going to do for this particular application. You can also select what level of antifreeze you have. So in the media section, you would hit enter there. You would select the type of antifreeze that you have. In this case here, we're glycol, and we're at 20%. But you can, there's many selections or many options in here. I can scroll through. So we have glycol, none, methanol, ethanol. So you can choose from all the different types of antifreeze. So you would just put in whatever is in your ground loop and enter that information, and then back out of here. And then we can go to the water flow stage. So you can see here that right now we have it set up to run at 9 GPM on first stage, and we have it set up for 12 GPM on second stage. Now, right in this application, we have this hooked to a 3-ton unit, so we're actually gonna lower that slightly. So we're actually gonna run 6 GPM in first stage, and we're gonna go to 9 GPM in second stage. And that gets us our 3 gallons a minute in second stage. So now, or three gallons per ton, I should say. So we get back out of here. And one way to verify whether or not this variable speed pump is running, because it is powered with high voltage all the time, you can unplug the signal wire. And if it's just got a small 4-plug Molex plug on it, and all of the Grundfos 32140s have this wire regardless of their application. So you can always unplug this, and this will max the pump out at 100% RPM. So if you ever want to test the pump for any reason or test your water flow, this is a good, fast, easy way to do it with a variable speed pump. So you can see now on the screen that we're running just under 12 GPM. We're 11.9 now. And then because the heat pump's not running, we're going to see very consistent numbers on the screen here. But this gives a really nice interface for the homeowners and the contractor. You can tell a whole lot from the information on this screen as far as the contractor is concerned. You can diagnose a lot of problems by knowing this information, whether or not you have a problem with the unit, as well as it gives the homeowner something that's a little more substantial for them to interact with in the mechanical room instead of looking at a bunch of things that don't really make a whole lot of sense to them. So here you can actually see your flow rates, and you can see how many BTUs you're pulling from the ground, which is really great. And then you can see if it's running first or second stage and how much power it's using. So right now, because I have it unplugged, it of course isn't going to show all that information, but this is, like I said, just a good way to test it out.